coaching staff. What do you think Ken Dorsey will add as an offensive coordinator and Matthew Smiley as the special teams coordinator now, and some of the other guys as well?
Yeah, I mean, we added a lot, but let me first address, Matt, if I could, the people that left, all staff, not just coaching staff, but other staff that have moved on. Super happy for them, for their families. Some of those are, big-time promotions like Brian Daboll, Joe Shane, just to name a few of those. They work all their lives to get into those positions, and couldn't be happier for them or their families, and those are well deserved and well earned. So, but we did, to your point, Maddie, add a lot of new staff, and some of those were promotions from within. So feel really good about that. You want to be able to do that, right? You want to be able to hire, develop, just like we do on the field, and then promote from within. And with Matt Smiley, Ken Dorsey, Jimmy Salgado, another one, just to name, and I think all three of those coaches have done a phenomenal job and earned those promotions, and that's the way you want it to be. And then we added, I think it's up to 7 now, new coaches from outside of our building, and did a lot of due diligence with that, made a lot of phone calls, added some youth as well, which will also add to some fresh perspective on things and maybe some new ideas. And so I feel good about the additions that we made, and now it's got to all come together as a team, kind of within the team that the staff is. So excited about that.
Along those lines, Sean, kind of fresh perspective, Joe Brady in particular, what was it about him that you saw and you kind of thought he would be a good fit?
Well, first of all, he's a William and Mary grad. But, yeah, no, it's, you have a chance in this profession to watch people from afar somewhat and watch the work they do. And, of course, you watch what he did at LSU, and I knew his name coming through the ranks that he did at William and Mary, and what he did after in his post-grad years in terms of his coaching career, his early coaching career, and who he spent time with. And you're talking about, by all accounts, a smart guy that works hard. And so when you combine those two things, which was a big part of some of the decisions that went into those other hires as well, you combine intelligence and an ability to work hard, or willingness to work hard, work ethic overall, I think you got a chance to be pretty good in this business.
John, we also haven't talked to you about the Ken Dorsey promotion. How critical was it, do you think, in your eyes, to keep that continuity for Josh, bringing the QB coach up to coordinator?
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, I wanted Josh to be comfortable. We've had success on offense, on the offensive side. We've had success overall, and that's where, when you win, people take from your staff. And it's hard, but it's a good thing at the end of the day in terms of being able to for people to move on to bigger and better opportunities for them, as I mentioned earlier. But in this case, with Ken promoting from within and having Josh's approval on that, I think is big. You try and get a feel for the landscape of the NFL and where things like this take a turn for the worse, and wanting to do it the right way was big for me and Brandon. And so Josh being involved in this decision, I think gives him some ownership, and also trying to get us to continue to get him comfortable, or keep him comfortable, but also growing our system from where it's been.
What sort of growth have you seen in Mitch Trubisky this year, and if he gets another opportunity to start elsewhere, do you think he's ready for it?
Yeah, really enjoyed our time with Mitch. Class act, his entire family, really class people. And listen, it's hard to handle a situation where you're coming from basically a career starter to a backup. That's a totally different dynamic. When somebody else is in front of the microphone, a couple lockers down from yours, I thought Mitch Trubisky handled that extremely well, as good as anybody could have handled it. And then when given the opportunity to play, whether it was the preseason or the regular season, he did a phenomenal job. Command of the playbook. So he's listen, I think it's unrealistic to think that we're going to be able to have him back. But I want him to go on and do great things for him and his family, which I know he's going to do.
Improvement in his play, just taking those backup snaps and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of that is because of of his familiarity with the system when he first came to us versus when he left. But he's a consummate professional in the way that he approaches his day-to-day regimen, his habits. I can't say enough positive things about Mitch Trubisky.
What would you say the Giants are getting in Brian Daboll as their head coach? What kind of coach are they getting?
Yeah, I think, here's a guy that's smart. He's been around systems, in terms of with Coach Belichick. He's been around Coach Saban. He's been around what we've done in Buffalo, places that have won. And so I know he takes great notes, and I think he'll probably put some of that to work in New York.
One of the best rosters the last couple of years, obviously gone deep in the playoffs, haven't quite gotten to the Super Bowl. What do you think has been missing? What has to be added to get this group from going deep in the AFC playoffs to where you ultimately want to go?
Well, I think, every year if you don't win the World Championship, there's always things that you can work on, things that you need to improve, whether it is roster, to your point, or other areas of our operations. So always looking to improve. That's why we embrace the growth mindset like we do in Buffalo, and we'll continue to do that. And that's what'll you knock long enough at that door, it'll eventually open up for you, and that's what we're working on.
Hey, Sean, you've got kind of a reset of the quarterback room with Mitchell moving on, Davis moving on. Sorry. You've got kind of a reset with the quarterback room with Mitchell moving on, Davis moving on. Is Josh at the point of his career where maybe you don't need to value experience in the room as highly, or is that still something you want to have along with him as you go forward?
Yeah, I think, Joe, just overall, you want to find the right pieces that fit with Josh, even though we know who Josh is, and Josh is older and more experienced now. That dynamic in that room with the coach and also the other players in that room is critical, because they spend so much time together and they really work together, and then Josh goes out and executes, and that's a whole nother level. But the pieces that are in that room are critical, I believe, and a big part of that is the chemistry that goes on in that room with, in this case, Joe Brady, Josh, and whoever else we add. I think that's critical.
Sean, you talked about adding some fresh blood to the coaching staff and the new ideas that they might bring, but what are some of the challenges that you're faced with in losing the continuity that you have had on that staff?
Yeah, change is good once in a while, right? It's different. I think there's different perspectives that are brought to the table, new ideas, and I think that continues to challenge the norm and the standard, and I think that's healthy. With that, though, to your point, Jay, comes some challenges of building that team that is within the overall team. So the staff, to me, represents a team within the team, and the chemistry on the staff, getting people on the same page with how we're teaching, whether it's fundamentals, our offensive playbook, our defensive playbook, special teams. That's critical, because then you've got to teach it a certain way, and I think all of those little things lead to success on the field.
Coaches have decided not to come to the Combine. You are here. Why do you still come? Do you still find really good value in being here?
I do. Just speaking for myself, I think there's a lot of value in coming here, in addition to speaking with you all. I do. I think it's like, you guys come here to do a job. I come here to do a job. And to the question earlier, we haven't gotten to where we're trying to get to. And I could tell you when we do, I'm still going to come here. I just feel like this is an important part of the process of improving for us at the Buffalo Bills, improving our football team.
How excited are you about Davis in his role moving forward?
Yeah, real excited. Gabe's going into his third season, and he's our type of guy. He has tremendous DNA. He's a winner. He's a player that in year two, really in year one, I'll back up. Year one had a good season, and came back and followed it up in year two, which is not easy to do. And then he continues to get better and better, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing when he comes back in year three now, this offseason. He's quickly becoming one of our leaders in our locker room at such a young age, which is unique to say for a young player.
John, what do you feel are the positions of strength in this year's draft?
Yeah, it'd be, for me, Nick, in all honesty, premature for me to comment, because I haven't done a whole lot of legwork leading into this combine on these players. So I'll tell you, spoke to a couple players last night, offensive players that were, I thought did a phenomenal job just in the interview process alone. And I think every year that gets stronger and stronger, which is good to see.
Have you thought they changed for Devin Singletary toward the end of last season and just how he played and you're trusting him? And does he go into this year as the lead guy in the back?
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to know who's the lead back, right? Well, at the end of the day, I thought Devin did a phenomenal job, and again, a young player that continues to earn everything that he gets. I thought his determination and the way he ran the ball in the back half of the season, let's say the back 6 games, really, I thought, energized our offense and gave us an identity and some great momentum, some great energy within certain games in particular. So really happy with the way he performed last season and looking forward to another strong year from him moving forward.
As far as the combine goes, I mean, you were talking that you're always going to come, but are you kind of relieved that the league kind of changed course a little bit? They were going to have this in a bubble, and then they changed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just overall, I would just say I'm thankful that things seem like they're clearing up around the world that way with COVID, and it's good that we can. To me, it's a lot more personal when we can interact like this than it is over Zoom or in a bubble. That's just my opinion.
Sean, you mentioned that you added to the coaching staff. Why do you think it's important to add young people who maybe come straight from college experiences?
Well, I think, just overall, Maddie, that the college game bleeds into what we do. And so you always want to take a big picture perspective on things. And again, as I mentioned with the quarterback position, I think it's important that you put the staff together like a puzzle a little bit and all the pieces kind of fit together. And you don't really know exactly what you want until you hire this piece, and then you kind of reset the board and say, hey, well, we kind of lack this piece. Let's go and find that other piece you're looking for. So in this case with college, that's a big part of the NFL game, and it's only going to continue to roll that way. So getting some of that perspective, experience, I think is good for our staff, so we're staying current with new ideas.
Recommend any changes to the overtime procedures?
Yeah, we've got a proposal baked in there, and we'll see where it goes.
Season ended. I mean, how easy or tough has it been to move on from it? Have you played it around in your head a lot? Just how's it been getting over that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you ever. I think if you're wired the right way, you never get comfortable losing. Whether it's in the playoffs, Super Bowl, regular season. I just think I was at a kids game the other day, and I heard a coach say to his team, "You got to get used to losing." I don't agree with that. It's not how we're wired.
Is there ever a down year now in the draft for receivers?
Is there ever a down year?
Ever a down year?
Yeah, that's a great point, Sal. I think that just the way that they're playing at the college level, that you're always going to have some options. But I would tell you, I think it goes back though too to the history of the NFL. Without giving away philosophy here, I think there's been a lot of good receivers that have been found at not only the first round but other rounds as well.
What are the qualities that he brings to the table that you liked? And he's a guy who you didn't work directly with ever, but you wanted him anyway. Why?
Yeah, I feel good about Aaron in terms of the level that he's coached at as an offensive line coach. A big emphasis for us is protecting our quarterback, and you guys know why. I don't need to tell you why. So making a big-time hire at that position was important for me this offseason, so that those players are developing the right way, and I know Aaron's has had a track record of developing players at that position, and I expect that he'll do a good job for us.
Sean, what went into the change with Heath and Matt at special teams coordinator? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, happy for Heath. You know, found a situation that worked for him, and you know, I love Matt Smiley, and whenever we can promote from within, we're going to do that, and very confident in his abilities. He's learned, and he's taken a lot of notes over his, I think, 9-year career at this point in the NFL, and another guy that's earned that opportunity, and I think he's a good coach. The players respect him, and I look forward to what he's going to do with that unit moving forward.
Were you worried that you'd lose him to a promotion if you didn't promote him?
Matt Smiley? Again, anytime you win and have a, you know, some sustained success, I think people are always going to take a second look at your team, whether it's your staff or your players.
Hey, Coach, you have a lot of free agents going into the offseason, right? McKenzie being a notable one. Are there any specific guys you kind of bring back?
Well, you know, selfishly as a coach, I'd like them all back. I know that's not maybe realistic, but there's the business part of the game that's always hard. But selfishly as a coach, again, I'd like them all back. You know, those things will work themselves out over the next couple of weeks here.
Did you feel like it was a new challenge putting the staff together this offseason, since you did have so many people leave and you had to hire so many new faces? It's not like you haven't done this yet since coming to Buffalo.
Yeah, it was definitely a unique experience. We've made some additions, subtractions, you know, incrementally over the years, Maddie. I think that just seven or more in one season is a little bit unique in my experience, not only as a head coach but as a position coach in Philadelphia and then in Carolina. So, but again, you know, going through it gives you a chance to kind of reset and rebrand a little bit, and then try and make things better. And I think that's the right mindset, that's the right approach, and I'm excited to see how it comes together.
Hey, Sean, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm curious about your thinking on the conversation about the overtime rule, given how your season ended and the fact that it is on the docket to be discussed. What's your position?
Yeah, I don't want to get it. I'll just speak in general terms. I think, you know, experiencing what we experienced overall, you know, I think there's a better way out there, and that's when you go through experiences like that and you experience those things firsthand in particular. You're saying that you want to evolve the game, and I think evolving the game for us, going through that like we did, is a firsthand experience of saying, hey, we can make the game better if we just did X, Y, and Z. So, yeah, I'm not going to get into details of it. That's for another meeting here. But yeah, we've got some ideas, and I think they'll help move the game forward, and we'll see where it goes. Hey, yeah, I wish them all the luck in the world. I follow them on television, and can't wait to watch them here coming up at the year-end tournament and the NCAA. So go Penn State wrestling. We'll see. Thanks, guys.